Hey, seventh graders. So yesterday you guys should have done the orange-bellied parrot food web activity on Teams assignments. If you guys haven't done that yet, you need to go back and do that first, as this assignment kind of curtails off of that. So today's assignment is called the food web mini project, and I've scaled this down a lot from what I did last year, but at the same time, you guys are still getting the same information out of it. So very similar to what we did yesterday, except you guys will be choosing your own ecosystem, doing the research yourself about what kind of organisms live in that ecosystem and what their food web looks like, and then putting together that food web. So your learning target for today is I can identify consumer and resource populations in an ecosystem, and I can create a food web showing the transfer of energy. So remember, the whole purpose of a food web is to show where each organism in that ecosystem gets its energy from. Okay, so your very first step in this is to choose an ecosystem that you want to study. So here's a list of about 31 different ecosystems, anywhere from places locally like Yellowstone or Glacier National Park, the Rocky Mountains, things like that, or to ecosystems far, far away like Thailand. Okay, so you guys will go ahead and study a couple of those. Or you'll choose one, excuse me. When you guys are on this page, you need to tell me which organism you chose or which ecosystem you chose by circling your answer, okay? So make sure you guys let me know which ecosystem you'll be doing your research on using your draw tool. Okay, all right, next you need to research some organisms. I don't care where you guys do your research from, that's up to you. But obviously make sure it's a good source and that it's not made up. But you guys are going to research several organisms in your ecosystem, and you guys might need to research more than what's required to find organisms that meet the following criteria. So you'll need to find 4 total organisms. Again, you guys might have to research a little bit more than 4 to find your 4 that meet these criteria. So you're going to have one resource only organism. It eats nothing. So generally your one resource only is going to be some sort of plant, right? Plants make their own food, so they don't need to eat anything. Okay, so find one important plant in that ecosystem that will tie in a food web with your other organisms here. So basically it has to be something that is eaten by your next population, which you have 2 resource or consumer organisms. They also can be eaten, but they're a consumer population because they also need to eat something. So generally these are things like herbivores that eat plants but are still preyed upon by other organisms. Not always herbivores, but very close. Okay, so you need to find 2 of those that are both resource and consumer. So again, they get eaten by something, but they also do some eating themselves. So eats and can be eaten. And then finally, you want to find one consumer only organism. This is going to be like a top tier predator that eats one or both of your resource/consumer organisms. And again, these should all be connected together. You guys should have your 2 resource consumer organisms eating your 1 resource and your 1 consumer eating your 2 resource or consumer organisms. And you guys are more than welcome to add more than that too if you want to make your web a little bit more complicated than 4 organisms. All right, so once you have found and researched your 4 organisms that fit these criteria of resource only, 2 resource and 1 consumer only, you guys will fill out this information just to kind of structure your food web. So right here next to this bullet point, what's your first organism? So write its name or type its name. Is a, and so you're going to use the draw tool to circle either consumer, resource, or both. Okay, so remember your resource only would be like a plant, your consumer only would be like a top tier predator that nothing else preys on it, and your both would be something that like an herbivore that eats plants but also gets eaten by other organisms. So circle which one of these categories your organism is falling under. And then tell me the resource population. So if you guys remember to yesterday's orange-bellied parrot activity, your resource populations are the things that your organism is eating. So if your organism is a resource-only population, you would put none there because it doesn't need to eat anything. Your consumer populations are the things that are eating that organism. So if you guys have a plant, it's a resource only, you're going to list all the animals that eat that plant. Okay, so those 2 bullet points right here to help you guys finish that. Okay, and then organism 2, again, remember you guys should have 2 that are both consumer and resource, so tell me what they eat and tell me what eats them. Again, same with here, organism 3 and 4, tell me what eats them and tell me what they eat. And then finally, your guys' last one should be a consumer only population. So you're gonna list everything under resource populations that that organism eats. But if nothing eats it because it's consumer only, then you guys would put none, okay? All right, and then finally, you guys are going to build your food web. So on this slide right here is where you guys will build your food web. So this is your last slide. So on the next slide, create your food web. Use pictures of your 4 organisms and include the organism names. So you guys have a couple options. Maybe you guys are using a zebra for your organism and you need a picture of it. You guys can do a couple different things. So you guys can right click and copy. Sometimes that doesn't always work. You can also save that image and then upload it. That's fine too. You guys can use your snipping tool, hit new. If you guys are working on something other than a Chromebook, you guys can use the snipping tool for that, where you click and drag and then copy and paste from there. Or if you guys are using a Chromebook, there's a simple, easy little trick for you guys. If you hold the Control and Shift button down, let me find this here. Screen shotting on a Chromebook. Oops. That was the one I want right here. So if you guys hold these buttons down here, so Control and Shift, hold those 2 down, and then above your number 6, you guys should have this little key right here that looks like a square with a couple lines to the right of it. You guys will hold Control Shift and press that button. What it'll do is it'll come up with a weird little screen for you guys where you can click, hold, and drag your cursor wherever you guys want your picture to pop up. Just kind of like I did with the snipping tool here, where I was able to click, hold, and drag. And then that's what's going to be my picture to copy and paste. So once you guys have done that using the Control Shift and then this key right here, down in the lower right hand corner of your screen, you'll see your image, and then underneath it, it'll say copy to clipboard. Click copy to clipboard. And then all you would have to do is go back into your little food web here and hit Control V to paste whatever you guys just took a screenshot of. Okay, so those options will help you guys get your images on. So you have a couple different ones, like I said, save. You guys can also look, maybe your image can be found by just going to pictures and then going stock images or Bing pictures. Those are also images there, like if you want to find a zebra here, you guys can use one of their stock images and just hit insert. Okay, so a couple different options for you guys to get your pictures in there. It's fine, whatever you guys choose, as long as you have your pictures, and then include your name, you guys, or the names of the organisms. So you guys can go insert text box, and you guys could type zebra. You might need to change the font color or the size. You can click and highlight home, change the font color, whatever you guys need to make it well visible, and then you guys can click and drag that next to the picture of your zebra. Okay, so those are basically how you guys complete those parts of the assignment. So use pictures on your 4 organisms and include the organism names. Then finally, you're going to draw arrows to show the transfer of energy through your food web. So remember that the arrow points towards the organism that is eating the other organism. So it's where the energy is moving. So for instance, this hay bale, this hay, this grass, whatever you guys want to look at it as, creates its own energy using sun, carbon dioxide, water. And then once it has its own energy, a cow comes along and eats it. Okay, so this is your resource, this is your consumer. Notice the arrow points from the hay bale to the cow, okay? Because the energy that that hay had is getting eaten and transferred to the cow. So the cow gets its energy from the hay because it eats it, okay? Then along comes the cow and it becomes a big cheeseburger for humans to eat. So again, that arrow would go from the cow to the human because the humans are eating the cow for their energy. Okay, so this energy transfer shows us how the human's getting their energy from that cow. Okay, so finally do your arrows to connect everything in your food web, and then this is the last side that I'll be grading for you guys. So obviously these ones right here where you fill out the information about your organisms, your finalized food web, and then make sure again that you guys show me what ecosystem I should be expecting to see some information from. Once you guys have finished that, you are good to go. You can turn this in. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you soon.